Hi, this is Sijesh here. Uh, in this video, I'm going to explain you how to do the installation and configuration of an Ldap server, how to do the integration of Ldap with the PHP Ldap admin, also how to connect our Unix boxes with this Ldap and use this Ldap as authentication mechanism for this server. Okay, so let's get started with the installation. So I have a Unix box with all the repository which is connected with internet and which is able to download all the repositories from internet. So let me start the installation. So the first thing I need to install EPEL release, which is nothing but a extra package for enterprise Linux. It will add a few repositories. So we'll do that. So done. The next step. So once this is done, so we can install all the OpenLDAP packages by executing this command yum install OpenLDAP star. So it will search in. Okay, so I think can't retrieve the meta link for repository EPL. So please verify the paths. I think I need to uh, will do yum clean all, and I have to go to etc yum dot repos dot d, then open that epel dot repo file. I think these mirrors are not reachable and I need to comment out this mirror and uncomment this base URL. Okay, so let me comment out this mirror and then now let's try to do that. Okay, so now the installation went very well once I commented out those lines. Okay, uh, so this is the steps I have done. So first I did yum install EPL release, then open Ldap start. So initially I got some error, so I went inside this directory and edited this epl.repo file, and I just uncommented this base URL line and commented out the mirror. So initially the mirror was inactive and base URL is in commented state. So I made these changes and then did yum install open Ldap start. So now I can see there are a lot of OpenLDAP packages installed into my system. Okay, so that is good. So I have got this OpenLDAP installed. Then the next thing I need to do some configuration. So this step. Okay, so copy the dbconfig sample file or dbconfig example file to dbconfig. So I need to paste into this location executing that command. So once this is done, so I need to change the ownership of these files to OpenLDAP. So the next step is changing the permission, and yeah, that's it. So now if I check the permission of this file, then I can see it's owned by Ldap user and group is Ldap. So next step, I can start this Ldap service. So the service name is the slapd. Okay, so slapd. Okay, then I can check the status of the service slapd status. So that means this is running. So now I did the installation of the packages, then some copy command, and then changing the ownership, then started the service. So now my Ldap service, my open Ldap service is up and running. So next step is to create entries in this Ldap. Okay, so we'll see that one second. Okay, so next step is so we need to create a certain password, so initial root password and bind user password. So the password has to be in encrypted format. So use the command slab password command and it will ask you for a password. So you can give any password that you are going to use. Okay, so I'm typing my password which I'm going to use here. Okay, so I need to make a note of this encrypted line. So this is, I mean, the password which I typed here, encrypted, and I got this in format. So let me save it into some notepad file which I need in my upcoming sessions. So that's it. The next, we will create an entry. The initial password. Okay, the password. Okay, so let me copy from here and add it in a file. Okay, so the file format is ldif file. So ldif stands for Ldap data interchange format. Okay, so I'm just copying from here and we'll go back. Okay, so let me create a one directory ldif here. Okay, then go to ldif, then this is something like a set root pass, set root pass dot ldif. Then pasting those line here, and this password. Okay, so you can replace this password with whatever the password which is uh, created by using the slab password. That's it. Okay, so I have created one file, set the root pass, and the file looks like this. Okay, see, once you gone through the complete theory of LDAP, then you will come to know, okay, so what does it mean? So what is a root password mean? And but this is completely practical based session which I'm going to do the installation and configuration only. I'm not covering the theory part at this time. So just understand, okay, so this is the configuration file and it is in LD format. So I need to apply this to our existing LDAP. So this command I can use. Okay, so LDAP add, then whatever the file we just created. This is the set root. And type that, yes. This is okay, fine. So sometimes if you are not able to do this thing, so you may get an error that time. So you need to check and verify the entries over here. That is done. The next is again, so we need to add users, and then we need to create the other part and those things. Okay, so I have another ld file, so I'm taking that, then I'm adding a domain.ld. That is any name you can use, but the same name you have to use at the time of adding. Okay. I think and okay. Set the root pass. Okay, so this is the file domain dot ldif. So here this is a sample format file. So based on your domain or your ldap details, so you need to change. Okay, so this is for example.com domain. So I just want to change all the example with hadoop.com because I'm using my domain as Hadoop. So example with Hadoop. Okay, so you can see this is something like dc is equal to Hadoop and dc is equal to com, and the manager is a user, and that's it. So then here one more thing, I need to update this password with whatever the password which we generated using uh, slash password command. So that password I'm replacing with the one which I created now. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. So I can say, and for updating this, so I can use ldap modify command. So initially I use ldap add. The next time onwards I am using the ldap modify command. So I'm modifying the entries based on these contents here. Okay, so that's it. That is done. Then the next we will go to the next step. So here I am adding a domain, so example.com, and let me copy this, and also one user manager here. So let me add base. Okay, so I'm adding another file base domain.ldiff and pasting the line, this line. Okay, so this will create a top structure. So example .com, so we need to replace with hadoop.com, which is our I mean Ldap tree. So copy that and paste it here, and here I need to change example with Hadoop. So in your case you can change based on your directory service name which you want to create. So here in my domain is hadoop.com, so I'm using the same domain name for my directory service also. That's it. Then I need to do this ldap add command, and for adding these entries. Okay, so this thing I need to use, but there is one difference is here. See this example.com, so I need to replace with hadoop.com. So if you are using some other domain, so you can use your domain, I mean the your tree structure name what you have created. So this is asking for a password, which is nothing but the password we added initially by using the slab password. We created a password and added this line across the files. So that password you need to use. So that is it. So it added an entry managerdc.com, and this is our top, I mean the root of our directory tree, and this is one entry, and this is the root user in that entry. Okay, so that's it, the installation, and now we can test whether we are able to do an Ldap search. So Ldap search is a, I mean, simple. So it is something like searching in the directory service, and there are a lot of options that we can use this. But since we are doing from local machine, so I can ignore some of these lines like host name. Okay, so if you are using for a remote host name, so this is needed, and host name 389 is the default port, so I can ignore that. Then hyphen D stands for the binding user, or which is similar to the administrator user. We call it as bind user for LDAP. And you can use this lowercase w followed by its password, or capital W. Then hyphen B. So this is the base from where we want to do the search. And okay, so we will do that LDAP search hyphen D CN equal to manager DC equal to Hadoop DC equal to con hyphen B DC equal to Hadoop, then hyphen W object class equal to star, then type our password. See, this is showing the all entries in our LDAP in an LD file format. See, we have an organization like this name, then under that there is one user, and this is the directory manager. This is, we call it as a bind user. Now everything is okay, fine. So we are able to communicate with our LDAP server, and we added as the initial users, I mean the initial admin user. The next step, we will go with the installation of PHP LDAP admin. So we can add user to the LDAP by using from the command prompt like this, LDAP add and modify with some LD file, which relatively bit tough, I mean not easy. So we have an easy configuration tool called PHP LDAP admin. So we can do that installation using this command yum. I am using, I don't want to provide this yes or no answer. So install a PHP LDAP admin. Enter that. So it's installing some packages, PHP LDAP admin, and some other dependent packages. So it will not take much time. So we'll only 4 or 5 RPMs. I think there are some issues with this mm, mirror. So let me try that. Okay, so download.fedora. Uh, I think this is also etc yum dot repos dot t, then epl. I don't know whether I just use, then yum clean all and try that php ldap admin. Okay, still it's getting some issues with peer cert invalid certain certification issue. So I think it is because of this GPG check. So let me disable that GPG check. So GPG check equal to 0, and again here, if I do that, so all the GPG check okay, I disable that. Okay. So now that is done. So what I did here is, sorry, I just went to this directory and disable this GPG check, because I don't know, on some integrity check it is failing. Okay, so I can ignore that. Fine, I'm okay with this package, and I did that GPG check 0, and did that installation again. So once that is done, then we need to edit couple of files. So this is the one file, etc php ldap admin config.php. So here I need to update. Sorry, I don't know why, to vi. Okay, so here the line number 305. Okay, 305. I just uncomment that. Then inside this, I need to add my domain. So dc is equal to hello, comma dc equal to com. That is the one. Then the next is 397 uncomment and comment 398. Okay, so we'll go to 397, then comment out 398. Okay, because instead of this UID, I'm using DN. DN stands for distinguished name. Okay. Um, okay, so this is the changes I have made, and 332. I need to update some value. Colon 332. Yes, here instead of this is the binding user instead of example.com, so you have to update your uh, binding user, proper binding username. So that is it. So I have done all these three changes. Then there is another file, okay, so which is controlling the access. We'll open that file, and see, this is something like from which machine is allowed to connect and which are all allowed to, I mean, denied. So deny from all is there, so I mean it won't let anyone. So let me choose one IP. So again I'm denying from this IP, then allow from all. So let me allow from all and deny all from only this particular IP. Then okay, I think there is two is not needed. I can remove that. Then what I need is need to restart. Okay. So now I can use this IP address and open in a web. Okay. So colon ldap admin. Okay. So click login. So the login, okay, so I could open so using LDAP admin. So whatever the IP address of the machine that we have installed. Okay, so by default just click login. So initial login will come. So this is the binding user we used, and use a password, whatever the password we use here. Okay, so now okay, so I'm able to connect to this machine, and I can start creating users and group. So initially you can see this is the root level. dc.com is my domain name, so I use dc is equal to Hadoop, and sorry, Hadoop.com is my domain name, and under that there is one user which is the binding user normally we call. So it is similar to the administrator user. So this user is needed everywhere. Okay, so now let me create some entries over here. So organize. Okay, so go to this domain name, create a child entry. Then I'm creating an organization unit. It is something like collection of certain things. It can. So I'm just using groups. Okay, commit. And I'm going to create one more entry. Okay, so one more organization unit, and with the name users. Okay, under group, I'm going to create a under a group, select the group, then create a child entry, then a POSIX group is here. Create that. Okay, so that means this is the one group I'm creating, and I'm going to create one more group. Okay, so POSIX group developers create. Okay, and I will create a couple of users also here. So create a child entry. So generic user account, this is the one. Then a username. Okay, so let me use my name. Okay, and a user ID I can choose. Okay, so any name here. Then whatever the password. So password I can use. Then group, I can select whatever the group. Since we have only groups, I am selecting under admins group, and this is my home directory. I mean, so I'm telling where to create my home directory, and default shell, create an object, then create, save it. Okay, so let me create one more user. So user account. Okay, so I will find user user or so let me give one name, so John Miller. So this is the username, and I can use one password here. Then whatever the is in developers, and his home directory that we are going to create, and his shell create commit. That's it. So here I have created a couple of users and a couple of groups. Okay, and let me go to this machine. Okay, see if I type, see I cannot see any user here. Also I have not created any user. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just trying to connect this server with Ldap. Okay, for that I need to install this package NSS and Ldap. So this package has to be there. So I'm using mutility, and it's downloading and installing that package. So here also I got some certification validation error. So from this side, okay, because it failed to validate the certificate. So I need to disable this one GPG check for some time and do that. See, I think this is something maybe using EPL. Okay, so this is the URL I'm getting error. So I just checked on which file this URL is there. So I hope this is in under this file. What I'm doing here is, say, I'm just changing this GPG check 1 with GPG check 0. Okay, then trying to do the installation again. Okay, so after editing that, I mean GPG check to 0, so this is going well. So installation is, I mean, it's trying to download, and I hope this will work fine. Okay, so the installation went well. Next, we will use this command. Okay, so auth config. Or else what you can do, we can just use auth config -tui command. So I'm using the command auth config, then enable ldap, enable mk home directory. So this will enable in the system to create the home directory automatically. And this is the server name. Okay, so ldap colon slash slash the server where our ldap is installed. So in our case, so we install the ldap on the same machine. Okay, so you can just use 181 and colon 389. This is the port number where ldap is running, and base dn equal to dc equal to hadoop, and dc is equal to com, and update. Okay, so that is it. We have enabled the LDAP. So this server is part of LDAP. If you have multiple server, so you can connect that server with this LDAP by using this command. Okay. So now if I check ID, yes. So actually this user is not available in the system. So if you just check cat/etc password and see that user is not created here. But actually that user is from Ldap. So initially if you check in the home directory, no, that is not there, but I'm trying to log in that user as first, then use whatever the password we have already in Ldap. Something like this. Let me log in from here. As once you log in as first time, so it has created its password. Then let me duplicate. One second. Because here the password authentication is not working, so let me go to auth config -tui command. Okay, so this is the one. I mean, this happened ldap user cache information. Then here use shadow and also enable this use ldap authentication. Then only our system will use. Okay. Uh, this ldap authentication. This is also all our server details. So this is the same as that we have done earlier. So now if I try to log in as the user which I created, it is working, right? So this user is able to execute, and he is root and group, because this is showing us this one. My group ID is something like 500 in LDAP. So this we can modify later. So I just now our system is able to authenticate with this LDAP service. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.